Hey everyone, Rob Lally here. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about why you cannot achieve your goals. And this video is going to be pretty painful to some of you guys out there who are watching this. And the reason why is because I want to give a bit of tough love, some of that hard advice that it's kind of not popular advice that I want you to hear from me, that I really wish somebody would have told me in my younger years rather than me having to learn through painful experiences. And I've coached and mentored people now for, countless hours. I've diagnosed business bottlenecks. I've looked at like performance. I've looked at like human psychology and all these sorts of things. And there's two main things which separate the people who, can't go on and achieve their goals versus the people who can. And these two main things are here. And this is where it's going to get quite painful because you might recognize one of them in yourself. So first of all, it either comes down to the know-how of the person versus the commitment, right? So what do I mean by this? Well, if you're not achieving your goals, either you don't know how to achieve your goals or you aren't committed to doing it, right? It's pretty much as simple as that. There are some kind of other factors, but like I'd say 99% of people fall into this area here. Now, this one's an easier one to solve. This one's a far tougher one to solve. So know-how. Know-how means that basically, if you are trying to get from A and you're trying to get to B there, you either go and do it, right? Or you don't know how to go and do it. So if you can't get to B and you've never got to B before, it might be that you don't know how to actually get there. So for instance, people come to me on LinkedIn because that's where I run my business and they're like, oh, I don't know how to get leads from LinkedIn. Know how. So they can't take action on it because they don't understand how. However, they try and educate themselves. They might be watching some of my videos. They might be watching some of my free training. They might be, reading things that I've put there. They might be looking at what I'm doing. So they're educating themselves to get more to the know-how here. And know-how can be sometimes a tough cookie to crack, just based on that, you see a lot of people who are maybe trying to diet or lose weight or something, and they don't understand that it's like calories in and calories out. So instead, what they actually do is they, might diet for Monday to Friday, and then they think that they've earned a treat on the weekend, the Saturday and Sunday. Then they jump on the scales on Monday and realize they haven't lost any weight, and they cannot understand it. They're like, well, I was good 5 days, I hardly ate anything, and then on the Saturday and Sunday I treated myself, and I just can't understand why I've not lost any weight. They don't understand that you need to be dieting for a longer period of time, and it consistently need to be taking in less calories than you're expending to actually lose weight, right? So that's down to know-how there. But the good thing about know-how is that it's very easy to learn, right? At some point you can be like, I'm doing this wrong. I need to do it in this particular way. So know-how is in a relatively easy way kind of dealt with, right? The one which is the big problem, everyone faces these, by the way. Everyone faces both of these at some points. It's more so this one people have the problem with, but this one as well is also, you can basically not move forward if you're having a problem with this area as well. Commitment. Now this is the real beast here, because our human brains are basically evolved to look for comfort and to basically spend as little energy as possible. So we are constantly trying to stay in comfort. And when we stay in comfort, we aren't committing to our goals. So a good example of this is, I love like Muay Thai, I love boxing. I used to do these when I was younger, and I started to do like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu one day, and I was really, really struggling with it. And I just was like, I can't pick this up. It's just really hard. I was just like getting thrown about every single place. So I was sparring with my friend. We were kind of like grappling and rolling, and I was like, and he just kept getting me again and again and again. And I was like, what's going on, man? And he was like, you know what your problem is, Rob? He was like, you aren't committing. He says, you kind of look like you're about to commit, but once you actually go for a move, you aren't committing at all. And this advice really took me back, and I was like, I am constantly trying to stay in safety. All right. and move away from risk. This pen is broken. And move away, hopefully you can see that, trying to stay in safety and move away from risk. Trying to stay in comfort, move away from commitment, right? Because with commitment, you get all sorts of risks, right? So I actually took a step back and I looked at other areas of my life and I was like, am I not committing in other areas of my life? Turns out I was pretty much not committing in anything, right? I wasn't committing to my career. I wasn't committing to, my love life properly, right? I wasn't committing to my fitness properly. So because I wasn't committing, I was only getting 10 to 20% results in each area, because you need to actively commit to actually get results in this area. So that situation there, I got feedback. But my point is that I couldn't tell I wasn't committing without somebody actually saying it to me. Here's another example. I worked with this client, really super nice client. But basically, they've been desperately trying to get leads from LinkedIn, for so long now, like friggin' nothing's working. They've chucked everything at it, nothing's working. They're trying all the time. They're feeling very burned out from it. And so I actually got this person to track their time, track how much time a week they were spending, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, how much time a week in 30-minute slots, what they were spending their time on. I didn't tell them what I was measuring. But basically, when I got the results back, they had in an entire week, 30 minutes they were spending on trying to actually get leads from LinkedIn. They were spending 30 minutes sending out messages to people and actually interacting with potential customers out of an entire week. Yet they had no time at all for anything else, because the rest of their calendar was completely filled with random stuff which did not support those goals, right? So I sat this person down and I was like, so you filled out your little planner now, you filled out in 30-minute segments what it is, how you spent your last week. And they were like, yeah. And I was like, did you get any, leads from LinkedIn in the last week? And they were like, no. And I was like, what do you think went wrong there? I already had the planner in front of me and they didn't know where I was going with this. And they were like, I don't know. I just feel like nothing's working. They were just like, I'm still feeling really stressed and I'm feeling burned out by it. And I was like, okay, so what is your goal? They were like, I just want to get leads from LinkedIn. I was like, is that your goal more than anything else? They were like, yeah, of course. And I was like, okay, and you're trying everything you can, right, to get leads from LinkedIn? They were like, yeah, of course. And I was like, so why in a full week have you only spent 30 minutes actually doing these activities to help you get leads from LinkedIn? And they were like, what do you mean? So I showed them the planner and I was like, out of this full week, you have filled your week with absolute nonsense. Nonsense which isn't contributing to any goal. And I was like, is your goal, to get good at Facebook, to do blah, 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 to do blah, blah, blah? And they were like, no. And I was like, so why are they even here, right? So the problem is with this person, we work through all this because, again, it's not really this person's fault. It's just a human brain looking for basic comfort levels. So we worked through all of this, but the problem is this person was convinced they were spending every waking minute committing to their goal. They were convinced. And unfortunately, sometimes you need somebody to pull you back onto the track there because you have completely went off. And it's quite hard to actually be open and honest with yourself and realistically look at it, because your brain just makes all sorts of things up. Your mind is just, if it thinks it's doing a good job, it's very hard to convince it, without showing it actual data, like I did to this client, that they aren't heading in that right direction there. So how do you as a person go about and check if your commitment is actually there? Well, first of all, I'd start with the simplest approach. I'd actually ask yourself, if you aren't getting results in something now and you kind of know how to do it, ask yourself, am I really committed to my goal? Do a deep dive search. Think to yourself. Be really honest with yourself. Because often if we do look deep enough, we kind of know whether we're, like I said, after I had my sparring match with my friend and he was like, you aren't committed. And I did a deep dive search on myself to see if there was any other areas that I wasn't actually committing in. So do that deep dive search on yourself and think, am I really committing to this? What's my goal here? Am I really committing to it? If you can't come up with an answer from there, I think most of you will be able to. Now I've pointed it out that these are the two main problems. If you still can't come up with an answer there, here's the next best thing you can do. You look at all your activities over 2021. We're in end of 2021 now. So look at all your activities throughout 2021. See what your goal is. What's your goal? Or see what your goals were. See how long you spent on things, doing associated activities, and be brutally honest with yourself. Like these activities that you pull up from this big task here, are they actually related to that goal? Could you still achieve this goal here whilst stripping out the rest of this, right? Because if they aren't 100% dedicated to achieve that goal, then you aren't committing. So a great salesperson once told me, he said, basically, well, you look at like Grant Cardone, actually, he talks about like, if you aren't making the sales, it's a problem not with like anything else. It's a problem with like it's not a problem with the phones. It's not a problem with the software you're using. It's not a problem with anything else you might be using. It's not a problem with like the people you're around. It's a problem with your own commitment. You aren't committed. So you have to get committed, right? You have to decide like, this is what I'm going to do. I need to do this right now. And then what you do with the commitment, once you've made that choice and you've realized this is completely in your hands to control, and you aren't stepping up to control it, is then you create that goal, you write out the 3 action steps, 3, 4, whatever it is, that would help you get to that goal. And you don't do anything else until you've achieved it, right? And you just get relentlessly persistent on this goal here. And this is kind of the tough love video I wanted to make, because this isn't like you deal with it once and it's completely dealt with for the rest of your life. This lack of commitment thing will step in everywhere. You aren't getting results in something. Check your know-how, then check your lack of commitment, which is the main culprit there. You aren't achieving your goals. Check your know-how. Do you know how to do it realistically? Just double check. It can be even as little as a 5-minute Google search, right? Like for instance, if you try to lose weight, like what's the actual science behind it, right? And then look at the main culprit, the big pink elephant in the room. You aren't committing. You aren't committing to it. Now, of course, setting realistic goals and making sure you can actually hit them is a whole different topic. And I don't really want to get into this today. But also I think something that's really, really good, a good point for you to use, and you have to be so truthful with yourself here, is to ask yourself, have you ever demonstrated a track record of not committing in the past? Right? So for me personally, if I'm being very honest with myself, throughout my early 20s, I was a notorious idea guy. Could come up with endless ideas, endless innovations. However, I really struggled to finish them. I would, get 60%, 60, 70% of the way done, and then I'd be straight on to the next idea, right? So that's me being really honest with myself. So right there, that last 20, 30, 40%, complete lack of commitment, right? So I know I have to double down on that, or maybe, as I've got bigger and I've got more money, hire somebody to take care of the last 20 to 30, well, like 40 to 20%, right? Because I know that's my weakness. Okay, we've all got weaknesses, right? And at different stages in like our career, depending on like our finances, depending on like our situations and that, sometimes we are going to just have to manage those weaknesses to the best of our ability. Because if you haven't got like money then you can't really outsource it and actually get other people on board. But I hope this video really helps you. If it did really help you, leave me a comment below. Try and challenge yourself and leave me a comment on where you think you're lacking commitment. I'll do my best to reply as well, maybe give you some tips. But have a great one. Please like, subscribe to the channel as well, and take care. See you in the next one.